by sincere prayer, hope, and determination that you find peace in the Lord. And for sure, by now, if you are not at peace, then I don't know what other means we need to employ. Because I'm determined to make it as simple as possible. Not lecturing, not what have you. I just want the simplest means of bringing this point home. That's what matters to me for now. And this I will do by every other possible means that I can think of. Yeah. Now, I want us to indulge in this exercise of trying to incorporate God in every aspect of our life. Yeah. In every aspect of our life. Yeah. I've earlier on talked about terms like mortifications, reparations, yeah. Yeah, these are some of the ingredients in these virtues that we can incorporate here and there to give to tone whatever exercises we are partaking to suit our religious outlook. Yeah. So, in whatever career you are, whatever you are doing, I just want you to imagine having the Lord there with you. Yeah, how you would do it. When you look at that neighbor, try to replace them with God. And look at it again. Look at them again. And see what you could do different. Yeah? So, this is the very point I want to drive home. How I want us to feel encouraged in appreciating that neighbor with ease. Yeah. I know at times it's very difficult, yeah. But there are few facts when we have in mind, we can do it with more ease. Yeah? We do it with lesser difficulties. So I was trying to explain, to define holiness. What is holiness? What is sanctity? Sainthood. I've talked about sainthood when I was mentioning about the completion of God's plan. I did mention that the ultimate administrators of God's wealth are His saints. Yeah? They are His saints. So who are these saints? Yeah? Who are these saints? Saints are associated with holiness. Saints are those who accomplish the will of the Father. those walking in his ways. This I call the community of saints. So these are the ultimate administrators to the Father's wealth. And I did mention that the citizenship to paradise is open to all of us. The citizenship is actually open to all of us. We can get there by means of birth, or we can qualify to go there by green card. We've heard of people being born again, yeah? So when you are born again and you are qualified to join the community of the Lord, the community of saints, the Father can grant you that green card to rightfully inherit, have a portion of inheritance at the paradise, and have since discouraged the back doors. Those who say, this other one is too good for us, mediocrity is all we can settle for. So we don't aspire to do good, we don't aspire to qualify right fully in the right way. We just say we want the back door, and it's not very safe, it's not there, because the Father has a way of eliminating you. Yeah. And now let's see how the Father does his work. Yeah. You can take a walk with me at the Father's workshop. Yeah. Let's visit his workshop. You know, the Father doesn't spend all the time quarreling with us, making noise. No. He just wants, and then, being the gentleman he is, he takes a back seat and goes back to effect, to do what he has to do. And his work he does so well. Yeah? He's the supreme architect. He's the supreme architect, and he does it executively well. He does not miss a point. Yeah. Now, the Father is the custodian of all these souls, and he directs them as he wishes. Yeah? Such that just like I've always said it here, that we have the formula and the goodwill. Yeah? The Father has all the very formula we want for the accomplishment of what we are doing, and we have the goodwill. So the Father has a system of collecting all his saints together to grant them the paradise he so wishes to give them. Yeah? This he can do comfortably. And he also has a way of grouping his enemies together and granting them the hell they deserve. This also the Father does comfortably. Yeah? And so, when he gives us, when he wants us, and we endeavor in our maneuvers, trying the back doors, the side doors, and everything, it's all waste of time. And this we do out of ignorance. We do it out of ignorance. The reason we are here, to undo the blindness, the spiritual blindness, so that we erase all those gray areas to act out of informed choices. Yeah? You can do everything and find the back doors to paradise. And in His wisdom, He has a way of gathering you together again, or a way of just eliminating you. Haven't we heard of calamities like a simple disease that can be treated like even diarrhea, eliminating quite a number of people in a place? It's very easy for Him. He just needs to select individual A, B, C, D and group them and then release. Yeah? If the button is cholera, there goes Mr. Cholera, Professor Cholera. And he clears and it is done. Yeah, so Father has millions of ways of bringing these things to pass. Let's not keep lying to ourselves, acting in ignorance, hoping that we can fight Him. We cannot. We cannot in any way fight Him. Okay? Now, many a times when we attend the funerals, we hear people telling the Father, sending these requests, mweke pema peponi. Yeah? It's a very common request, yeah? Every other person delivering that eulogy, they always summarize with that request, mweke pema peponi. Yeah? Grant them eternal peace, grant them, O Lord. Yeah? And so the reason some musician came up with this song, that in short was, in summary, the song is requesting us to let the Father do His work and do it well. Yeah, because at times we are very much aware this person was a murderer. This person was a robber. This person was engaging in this sort of evil. Well, ours is not to judge because the judgment is His. But now when we go asking Him, mweke pema peponi, yeah? The musician was a bit annoyed. Yeah, he was annoyed with this move of people forcing the Father to grant them safe landings. Yeah, when they've probably left behind horrors. Some of them have gone leaving us in troubles that cannot be undone. Yeah, and then we are there pushing it on the Father. Grant them safe landings. Safe landings. Yeah. Let's talk of this individual who've robbed you of everything of yours, left you there for death. They've not only robbed you, they've beaten you up and left you there for death. They've made millions overnight. You've spent your lifetime gathering this wealth. Yeah? And then he goes there, he puts up that wonderful house, that wonderful house over there, yeah? And then the father also allows them to work hard to accomplish the building, yeah? They'll bring up the house, yeah? And then before they spend there, they are gone. Haven't you heard of people putting up houses before you get there, even to spend a night? You are killed. I'm not saying all cases are the father's doing, because there are cases that are also the works of the enemy. Yeah? That enemy who is so injured with your prosperity, who is having sleepless nights because of that success, the sleepless nights because of that smile on your face, and so they do everything. They go at any length to thwart it. They'll go at any length to thwart the efforts. Yeah? These are two scenarios, yeah? So, I'm talking of a case of a genuine builder. I'm not talking of a case of... In this second reference, we are talking of a genuine gatherer who goes to the field to toil, brings up a house, but an enemy destroys. Now the other version is one who wants to have it overnight. Yeah? Who wants to accumulate this wealth you've worked for the rest of your life. They want it overnight. So they'll come, grab it, to go construct that bungalow. And the father allows them to accomplish. And when done, they go without spending a night there. So the father, in his wisdom, the father, these are some, we are at the father's workshop, yeah? We are taking a stroll at the father's workshop. Some of the wonderful works of the father. We need to know them. Yeah, so that as we endeavor in evil, we endeavor in shortcuts, we endeavor in all these things, we know the repercussions. Yeah? We are not doing them out of ignorance. We know we can tell the end and all that. So the father in his workshop, he's there busy. Yeah? So you've been murdered here. You've toiled the rest of your life. You've gone to the grave. Your children have not benefited in any way from your sweat. Yeah? You've gone mourning. Yeah? Guess what? This murderer, who've also built this house and has not spent there from the proceeds they grabbed from you and left you there for death, this murderer, it is the child. It is the child, the very child who is going to give birth to this man who was murdered. Yeah? the wonderful works of the Father in his workshop. So, you will be having your child here you so cherish. Actually, the same you murdered, the one whom you never wanted to see that smile on their face. This is the one you will be embracing here in the name of a daughter, a son. So, in Father's wisdom, who will be occupying this home, this wonderful home you worked for, in murder, robbery, and all that. Yeah? In oppression, suppression, call them. You did everything to get there. Yeah? So, in Father's wisdom, in his wonderful works, at his workshop, who is occupying this house? We began by explaining that all these souls are there in the custody of the Father. Yeah? Upon death, the spirit goes back to the Father for judgment. And so the reason we talk about mweke pema peponi, what does that mean? It's upon the judgment that the Father decides where you are placed. It's not upon the mouthings at the funerals. These are not relevant. It's upon the judgment at death. Upon your death, you go into judgment with the Father, and he decides where to place you, whether you deserve hell or heaven. Yeah? So this is what determines the actions of the Father, not the very mouthings at the funerals. Mweke pema peponi, we can say until tomorrow, forever. Yeah? So the Father, in his wisdom, in his workshop, brings back this murdered one to come and occupy this very cherished home when you are also gone. Yeah? Yeah? Now you understand what I mean when I ask you to deal fair with that neighbor? To place yourself in their shoes before you act. Just to be sure that you'd want the same done to you if you were in their shoes. When you are convinced that's what you'd wish, then you can go ahead to act in whatever way. You can go ahead in your pursuits. And when you get here and the Spirit is telling you otherwise, now it's at this point that the Word tells us that it's a fearful thing, brother. It's a very fearful thing to fall in the hands of your Creator. That's what the Word tells us. He tells the Hebrews, is it in 10:31? It's a fearful thing to fall in the hands of your Creator. Have you come across some of these sins you so dread? When you walk in some of our cities, we come across people placed in the streets to try acquiring fundings from our fellows. We call them beggars. We normally refer to them as beggars. Some of them are not necessarily disabled, but they are beyond, beyond what you even want to call disability. These individuals that even if you are given, if you gave birth to, you would ask yourself why you even had to give birth in the first place. And they would also be asking themselves why they had to come into being. That is where we are when we talk of it being fearful, finding ourselves falling in the hands of the Creator. Where he tells us it was better if you were not born. Ingekuwa heri kama haungezaliwa. It was better, brother. So the Father in his workshop knows how to bring this to pass. These are some of the things he does quite well at his workshop. I just explained the other day, in the other unit we were handling, that these poor people, the disabled, not necessarily disabled, but the less fortunate in the society, is so oppressed. To accomplish your greed, your selfish demands. You are there putting up the bungalows at their expense. Believe me, brother, while your child will be taken to them, they will be brought to occupy these bungalows you are straining to build at whatever cost, at operations and all that. I told you the Father has a formula of bringing it to pass. Who determines where you will be tomorrow? This we've handled before, Who determines the child your wife is carrying for you? Your wife could just be carrying that beggar in the street. And that street mother, expectant there, could just be carrying yourself, if not your child. In the topic we had further the equalizer. I explained a number of these. And these are some of his areas of expertise. These are some of his areas of expertise. And he does it executively well. What do you think he really meant when he was telling the Israelites that he'll have them scattered all over? What do you really think he meant? It is him who scatters and him who gathers. It is him who can decide to hold that family unit you so cherish, or have it scattered all over. So that we have the mother elsewhere, I don't know, whatever country, the mother, whichever other country, the children all over, such that we never get to come together again. And he can, in the same strength, bring you back together. All this he does at pleasure. These are some of the things we do at the Father's workshop. I just talked about prophecies some time back, and I did explain to you that prophecies are but a token of love from the Father. The Father, in his love, will learn about a pending calamity, and he brings it to our knowledge. And this is meant to inform our actions. And so, prophecies remain a treasure to those of us who love the Father, those of us who call ourselves his children. It is a token of love to us. But for those of us who despise him, they remain useless, in fact, to them it's but just a confirmation of what is coming. It's of no use to them. Just like we say it in the paradox of the cross. To those who are being saved, it is a treasure. But for the perishing, it's nonsense. Likewise, the prophecy is to the doomed. It doesn't make sense to them. It is but a confirmation of what is pending. But to you, children of the light, I called upon you the other day, those who choose to care, to join in the intercessory prayers for some of these pending calamities, that some of these prophecies may be ratified. Well, this the Father will do a number of them, for the sake of his holy name. He's already done some, and he's doing some, and he will do more, for the sake of his holy name. And I did mention that we must read the times well. We are at end time, and we are rewriting the Bible. We are rewriting the scriptures. We are actually at the beginning of a new generation. And so much ratifications has to be done. And so much of new measures has to be put into place. When you take that time to say that intercessory prayer, when you spend that time to appeal on behalf of that needy brethren, that needy town, that needy city, that village, that country, it's not in vain, brother. It's not in vain. And I can tell you with all the assurance that the pay is sure. The pay is sure. Some of us have escaped so much just because of these continuous acts of mercies. I told you intercessory is actually an act of mercy. The Lord has millions of ways of rewarding us. Yeah? He will reward you by undoing that calamity, by granting that blessing here and there. And so much of this on account of what we have done previously, our previous involvements. If you may remember our unit, when we quite explained how the Father calculates our tomorrow's reward, whether we need a promotion or a demotion, whether we qualify to be promoted or demoted. I gave you the formula and all these accounts. So don't ever think for a moment that it's vain work. Never. Never. It can be, the payment can be instant, it can be tomorrow or in future. And this I did say that at times it even comes in our children. It's brought, ordained on our children. And he has all the formulas on how he arrives at this. Yeah? It's not about guesswork. Father is the most qualified architect. Yeah? Yes. Mr. So-and-so, you are asking for this. Yeah? As it stands, you don't qualify. But I have a way of qualifying your child so that I have it ordained in them. So all these things, it's not about guesswork or what have you. Father has a very accurate formula of coming to let these things pass. And so the reason I was saying that the day, it's all foolishness.